Okay, now 1.3.28 we have completely explained. But Jiva Goswami adds some other points. He says, although this verse is establishing Krishna as the original personality of Godhead, Shri Krishna's form is the original personality of Godhead. But then the doubt which comes is there are many other scriptures which highlights Krishna to be the incarnation of Mahavishnu, Krishna to be incarnation of Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, Krishna to be incarnation of Kshirodakshaya Vishnu, Krishna to be incarnation of Narayan, Krishna to be incarnation of Ram, Krishna to be incarnation of Vaman. So when such kind of controversy occurs, and especially in Srimad Bhagavatam only, Jiva Goswami says there are approximately 15 statements which establishes Krishna to be the incarnation of some other form in Srimad Bhagavatam only. Then somebody may say, oh, the first statement, Krishna is the original personality of Godhead. It is just to glorify Krishna, so that we have faith in Krishna. Because after all, they are going to talk about Krishna throughout the Bhagavatam, especially in 10th Canto. So just to glorify Krishna, he is mentioned as the original, and after the real facts are mentioned. Somebody may say that. In the beginning, just Krishna is highlighted, because after telling in the beginning, nowhere it is repeated again that Krishna is the original form. So somebody may say, oh, this is just to highlight, just to glorify Krishna for a contextual reason. But no, Srila Jiva Goswami clarifies it very wonderfully by explaining. He says, we will refute other statements by dividing into two categories. Other statements from Srimad Bhagavatam and other statements from other scriptures, which says that Krishna is not the original form of Bhagavan, which says something else than Krishna is the original form. So there can be Bhagavatam and other scriptures. Now first we will say Bhagavatam. As we discussed, there are around 15 statements which mention otherwise, that is Krishna is not the, or other Krishna's form comes from some other form. So he says, how he explains, he says, Srila Jiva Goswami, that whenever any text has to be established, whenever a scripture has to be established, first a Paribhasha Sutra is explained. This is called as Paribhasha Sutra. Now Paribhasha Sutra very clearly, Sutra is a very concise text. Very concise text, Paribhasha is kind of defines, very clearly defines a subject. For the scripture. So very clearly defines a subject with absolute no ambiguity. And if you notice, till now, till this point, in the first 3 chapters, there is no explanation given of who is Bhagavan. This is the first time this subject is introduced. So the nature of Paribhasha Sutra is very clearly defines a subject. Then it introduces a subject, as it says Paribhasha, it introduces. And then the way introduction is given, the next point about Paribhasha Sutra is that is universally applied throughout the scripture. Throughout the scripture. Throughout the Bhagavatam, that is applicable, the statement. And then it is not repeated. These are the rules of Sanskrit in any scripture. They are not repeated. So universally applied, not repeated, clearly defines a subject, no ambiguity. It just introduces a subject and then defines and leaves it. Now it has to be applied throughout the scripture. And then the rule is, once it is given, this refers to, in this case, Krishna's tu Bhagavan Swayam. Once this is established, then all other statements which may be contradictory, which may be according to this, have to be adjusted somehow to understand this. Anything contradictory either has to be rejected. I'll just write down this point. What to do with contradictions after Paribhasha Sutra is given? Either reject them or they act, you can say adjust them to understand Paribhasha Sutra. They act as ornaments to Paribhasha Sutra. We will also attach a document where everything is written down systematically and one can read that document from Krishna Sandarbha. Around 6 pages are there to explain all these different points which we just covered in explaining this verse. So one can refer to the document. How ornaments? He gives an example of an emperor, because he also calls this verse as the emperor verse. Now, because Paribhasa Sutra is universally applied throughout the scripture, as we discussed just the point before that, it's universally applied, the whole scripture, one has to remember that. Just like an emperor, after a victory, goes for a parade. And now because emperor's victory is all over declared, so all the rivals have to come and bow down. And all the, even not rivals, those who are not known to the emperor, they all come to see him and offer their salutes. Similarly, once the emperor's statement is made, all other statements, just like when an emperor goes for a victory parade, all those who have assembled, rivals or non-rivals, they act as ornaments to his parade. Similarly, all the other statements, 15 statements, which says, all the 15 statements which says that he is an incarnation of Mahavishnu, Garbhodakshai Vishnu, Karanodakshai Vishnu, Ram, Vaman, they are just ornaments which have a contextual significance. But this is the main statement, emperor verse. Krishna is the personality of Godhead. So thus Srimad Bhagavatam, this becomes the emperor statement, the essential verse, the key verse, based on which Krishna's supremacy is established. And just to conclude, finally, let us compare this to other scriptures which establish otherwise, that Krishna is incarnation of some other form. Jiva Goswami very simply refutes that by saying that in Tattva Sandarbha, which is Jiva Goswami's first Sandarbha, he has already explained. What has he explained? That Srimad Bhagavatam is the topmost Puran, spotless Puran. Above all other scriptures. Srimad Bhagavatam is above all other scriptures. And Srimad Bhagavatam text 2 says, now reality will be explained as distinguished from illusion. So Srimad Bhagavatam is above all scriptures, and then Srimad Bhagavatam says we are going to reject all secondary ideas and establish reality. This is the first chapter, 1.1.2. And once that is said, then after that establishes the reality in 1.3.28, Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. That's why it's called as Paribhasha Sutra. So if anybody needs any explanation why Krishna is Supreme Personality's form, why not Ram, Vaman, Matsya, although all are Vishnu Tattvas, this is the answer. Hare Krishna.